Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 116 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Geige. I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a good week. For anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard, and we do these town halls every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And we do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with you guys, go through the same flow you guys do with your own shows. Two is to answer any of your questions. So if there's anything you'd like us to touch on tonight, feel free to leave it in the chat. We'll do our best to get to all of them. And then I always make sure I mention our three pillars, which are ease of use, stability, and professional stream. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. See lots of you in the chat tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. William says, very interested in learning how this might work for our company. Awesome, William. You should check out, I don't know how many people know this, but we actually do weekly webinars. Dana and Kelsey host them. So yeah, if you don't mind leaving a link in the chat, Dana, maybe you can show William where to find it. Hey, Joe Dog, nice seeing you here every week. Eric, people from all over the place. Before I forget, we have lots of StreamYard shows. One is StreamYard Spotlight, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern with Dana and Kelsey, and it's a show about you guys. They highlight people having success with StreamYard in the community, which is awesome. They're actually, they were booked out for months and months, but now there's actually some spots open again. So if you guys are interested in joining that, feel free to reach out to Dana. We have live stream reviews Saturday at noon Eastern with Christian. Nick and Dee also do channel reviews on a couple Saturdays a month too, so be on the lookout for that. We have Coffee with the Ducks, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, where you can meet the people behind the scenes at StreamYard, which is a lot of fun. We have a new show, Live Stream Impact, Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern with Julie. So be on the lookout for that. In case you missed it, I think we announced it a couple weeks ago, but it's still relatively new. Individual audio tracks. So curious how many people have turned that on and are using it, and your thoughts on it. Were a couple of kinks we worked out this week that Dan was going to touch on briefly.
Cool. Yeah. So I think we released it, or we officially announced it 2 weeks ago, but then shipped it partway through that week. So it's been out for 10 days now, roughly. And for anyone who's never heard of it before, not sure what we're talking about, basically this is the ability to download an separate audio track for each person that's in your stream. And it's really great if you want to edit that audio afterwards. So if you have a podcast, for example, and you want to edit, say maybe just my audio, but not Gaige's, you can get separate audio tracks. You have to turn it on in the studio on the right side. Right now it's only on the professional plan. It'll just give you a WAV file, an audio file for every single person. Yeah, like Gabe mentioned, we're working on a few kinks. So one of them was the time might not perfectly map between the audio files and videos. Like there might be slightly different lengths. We're working on fixing that. Already shipped several things to fix it, but there'll be another fix or two coming just to really perfect it and make sure like no matter what happens on our end, they'll always be the correct length. And then we did have another issue as well. And if you ran into it, we would have already reached out about it. But another issue where in certain very rare cases, it wouldn't work properly. So fully fix those. Like we say on the site, it is in beta. It's like kind of early, check it out. But now it's starting to get a lot more stable. And it sounds like it's working very well for a lot of people. So if you have any good feedback for us, anything you do want us to change, always open to feedback.
Tristan says, David Bain's asking, could you confirm if the single audio tracks are local or internet recordings? If internet, are there any plans to provide locally recorded tracks for each participant? So this feature is remote, so it's over the internet. They're cloud recordings. We'll see how this goes. We may add local recordings as well, but this one for now is internet recordings. Since it is audio only, it's there's much less bandwidth involved with audio. So generally, you can get a very high quality audio track doing it remotely. So yeah, let us know your feedback on it. Let's see here. Kana saying greetings from the Philippines. Thanks for tuning in. Letitia says, super pumped about the StreamYard event coming up in April. Thanks, Letitia. Yeah, Letitia's actually going to be speaking on it at it, which is awesome. So in case you guys aren't familiar with that it's going to be, let me see, I've got a banner for it. The Live Streaming Success Summit. I thought I had it in here somewhere. Oh, here, April 15th. So make sure you mark your calendars for that. We have lots of awesome speakers lined up. So stay tuned for the live stream Success Summit. And if you have anything you want us to cover, do let us know your ideas, but it should be a great event. Another thing on the topic of individual audio tracks, asked last week as well, but most of you hadn't had a chance to try it out yet. So still curious what you guys think of the file names, if there's anything you would do differently as far as like how we're naming the tracks themselves. If it's intuitive, if there's anything you would do differently, let us know.
Yep.
Hey George, thanks for hanging out with us. Tim says, can't wait for the summit. Thanks, Tim. Jordan Vandentop says, any news on Twitter Live yet? It's a good segue, Jordan. I do have an announcement to make on that, so give me a second here. Letitia's already picked out the outfit. Awesome.
Sweet.
Graph Web says, would be great to have copyright-free music built in so we won't get copyright strikes on YouTube. Yeah, definitely something you need to be aware of. One thing you can do, Graph, is YouTube actually has an extensive library themselves on YouTube. And that's probably the safest way, because even if you get a copyright-free track from a different site, it's usually safe, but it's not always in YouTube's library. So there is sometimes issues with that as well. So the safest thing is to actually use the ones directly in YouTube's library.
Yeah, like we've had issues actually streaming royalty-free audio that I can't remember exactly how it happened, but it had been listed somewhere under copyright, even though it shouldn't have been. So you can still run into issues, unfortunately. But it is a little tricky if you're multi-streaming, because now YouTube has their own library, Facebook has a different one. But if you're just going to YouTube, should be good using YouTube's library.
George says, can I upgrade to professional plan at any time? Yep, George, you can upgrade, or you can switch to any plan you want at any time, and you'll be prorated. So like if you had just paid for a previous plan and then you upgrade, it's not like you'll get double charged or anything like that. Sounds like Eric used it. Awesome. Thanks, Eric.
Cool.
Tim says, can you add the ability to respond to comments from within StreamYard? You actually can do that for most platforms, Tim, unless you mean like using like the reply to function, but you can actually post comments from StreamYard. Reply function is an interesting idea. Noted. Kelly says, we turned on individual audio tracks for the upcoming Speaking Your Brand virtual summit. Planning to download the audio for the Speaking Your Brand podcast. Thanks for making this available. Of course. Thanks, Kelly. That's awesome.
Cool.
Chad says, just saw Disney release a new Mighty Duck series. Off topic, but very excited. Happy for you, Chad. That's awesome.
Cool.
Dana says, Tangerine's here. Awesome. Hey, Tangerine.
Mighty Ducks, is it like the hockey team? Or is it something else?
You never saw that movie, like the Mighty Ducks movie from Disney?
Was it hockey?
Yeah, hockey.
Oh, yeah, cool. Got it.
So yeah, Twitter. So Periscope/Twitter. So as many of you probably have seen, Periscope is going to be sunset by Twitter this month. Details are still coming out around exactly what Twitter Live is going to look like and how it's going to work. But we've been told that it'll be seamless. If you're broadcasting on Twitter now, you should through Periscope, you should be able to continue using it exactly as you are now, assuming you're using StreamYard. So if you're using StreamYard to go live on Twitter through the Periscope integration, you'll be fine. Details are still coming out as far as like how the migration and stuff is going to happen with Twitter Live and what it's going to look like, but it's not like your streams are going to stop working this month. So hopefully welcome news.
Yeah, so it's going away, but it'd be nice to kind of have it all on one platform. Should be simplified eventually.
Yeah, Twitter Live looks like it's going to be exciting as well. I don't know how much stuff is going to be on the API, but last time I checked out like what they had on there, it looks like it was pretty extensive as far as like scheduling and the different types of features that were available there.
Cool.
I had several new teammates on the support team this week, so I wanted to welcome them. We have Iu Rakwa, Louis, and Eddie joining the team, so that's awesome. Lots of more support for all of you. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
So very cool. All from New York, right?
I'm trying to think if the entire team is in New York. I think the entire support team is in New York.
I meant these three. Not everyone on our support team is New York, but
these three definitely are. Iu Rakwa, Louis, and Eddie are all in New York.
Welcome aboard.
One cool question we had, well, hopefully cool. In my opinion, one cool question we had for you guys was what feature do you use most / least, and why? Curious if there's something you don't use at all, what you use all the time. Let us know. Kelly says, we recently upgraded to the Pro plan and are getting familiar with the new features. Does Hopin support 1080p streaming? Hopin does support 1080p streaming. Let's see what else we have here. Not Slim says, can we expect an announcement about the development of hotkey support or Stream Deck integration? So we don't have any dates or anything, Not Slim, but it's a very popular request and something we're looking into. Paul says, will there be an integration with the ViewStub chat? It's actually the first time I've gotten a request for that, Paul, but I'll certainly note that down and check it out. Brian says, Ari, the music, sometimes third-party scammers try to place copyright claims on YouTube music. Just tell them you got the music from YouTube and the villains go away. Thanks for the note.
Yeah, copyright's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit frustrating. Marley says, I had that happen with the royalty-free music too. Oh, that's unfortunate. Thankfully, YouTube just complained but didn't shut down my account or anything.
Yikes. We had it on Facebook, I think it was.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Rue Revel says, will you be working on a phone-in function, or which one is a good one to use with StreamYard? I think Christian actually just wrote a really extensive blog post on like all the different options out there to take in a phone call. So check that out, Rue Revel, if you just go to StreamYard.com/blog. I think it's the second or third post, so that'll cover everything. But just to quickly note, personally, I think that like the easiest option is to just use something like a Rodecaster, which is an audio mixer, and that actually allows you to connect the phone to the Rodecaster itself and mix that into the audio feed. I think that's the simplest way to do it potentially. Let's see what else we have here. Guy McDonald says, love how you guys are continually iterating based on user feedback and requests. Of course, thank you guys for the feedback. It makes our jobs a whole lot easier. Revkin says, are you concerned Twitter hasn't yet announced if / how StreamYard or other services can stream there? No, we're in contact with them and been assured that it'll continue to be supported. So not concerned. Ali says, question, will you extend the hours of streaming for free? So right now we offer 20 hours for free, Ali. We think it is somewhat expensive. Like we do, since we're a cloud-based program, like there are resources involved with every stream we do. We figured 20 hours was enough where you could have like, a show every week that was several hours without hitting the limit. So I don't think we're going to change the limit, but you never know. We're always open to these things, but we tried to set a limit that we felt people could fully use the product without it being too expensive for us to provide. Let's see if we have any feedback on the features that are being used most and least. Son of a Pizza Man says, feature request, ability to queue up more than one share screen. Noted, son of a Pizza Man. One thing you can do, I don't know if you know this, but with the local video sharing feature we just released, you can actually queue up multiple of those. That's obviously not the same thing, but in case it's relevant to you.
I like the name, son of a Pizza Man.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely catchy. Champrick says, hope my SY mug and pillow will arrive before the summit for the coffee. Thanks, Dan and Geige and Dana Benz for the help. Awesome, Champricks. I hope so too.
Sweet.
Blog Dojo Ace says, I beg you to come up with a better tool to manage super chats on YouTube. I'd be curious, Dojo, what like specifically be useful to know, like what you'd like to see from it. Like right now, we just sort of surface them at the top so you see them coming in and they're somewhat distinct in the chat so you can click them on screen. But curious what you'd like to see that's different. I know one thing that does come up a lot is people with super chats often have a very busy chat, so sometimes it's easy to lose the super chats. But yeah, any specific feedback you have is super useful. So thanks for that. Jamie says, doesn't that carry a $300 price tag? The Rodecaster, I assume you're referring to the Rodecaster. It is expensive, but I do think that's the easiest way to go about it, and it's a nice device. If you want to do it for free, you could always use something like Voicemeeter or Loopback to bring it in through a virtual audio cable. But again, that blog post covers all the different options, so feel free to check that out. Tangerine says, the on-screen comments is my favorite feature. Awesome. And the ability to multicast. Can't wait till we can upload MP3s for background music. Thanks, Tangerine.
Cool.
Eric says, would love to see a run of show panel so you're not clicking through pages for banners, brand, and comments.
Cool. That's fair. Yeah, we're always trying to think of ways where how do we make it simpler? And we're not sure what the perfect solution looks like yet, but it's definitely something we think about.
John says, #ask, would love to not have to go back to my FB page to change to public for my viewers to comment. So correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but you should be able to permanently change that, John. Just change the default setting to public, and that way you won't have to touch it for every stream.
Yep. Yeah, and for pages it should just be public. But if you're talking about your profile, yeah, there is a setting. I think it's business settings on Facebook. It's very hard to find these on Facebook, but you can look up how to change the post default privacy setting, and that should change it for all of them. We actually have a doc for that as well.
Jamie says there's not really anything I don't use. That's great to hear. I guess we're doing an all right job.
Cool.
Paul says, I use comments a lot and switching video layouts. Top left is my hot seat, easy to make the big window. Very cool. Letitia says, I have a virtual event coming up in June. Super excited to use Hopin for it. Awesome. I'll have to let us know what the name of the event is. Letitia will have to mark our calendars. Let's see here. William says, how secured is the format? I might have missed the initial part of that question, William, but I think you're the one I mentioned the webinar to. So the webinar is just an unlisted YouTube broadcast, but I have a feeling you might be asking about something else. So let me know. Sounds like banners and comments are the most popular one. Very cool.
Sweet.
One other question we had for you guys was around scheduling. Like each platform has its different timing for like max lengths, but curious, like, first of all, how many of you schedule broadcasts in general? And then of those of you who do schedule broadcasts, how far out do you generally do it? Is it a week? Is it a couple of days? Curious to know how you're doing that.
Yeah, and for anyone that is on YouTube, because YouTube is the one that doesn't really have any limits, how far are you scheduling those? You'd have to be just going to YouTube, but anyone who does it several weeks in advance. For us, we usually do it day of, right, for this one, for the town hall? Yeah,
we usually do it day of. If I was a bit more organized, maybe we do it a week in advance, but usually end up doing it day of. Cool. Thanks, Letitia. It's the Success Tour virtual conference. Very cool. William says, oh, maybe it was secure around the broadcast itself. While the program seems extremely safe and diverse, again, what makes it better than other programs out there? So, I mean, for a lot of content, it is social content, William. So it's like, it's a public format, like going out to, like us right now, going to YouTube or Facebook, et cetera. For stuff that's like record only, I mean, everything, only you have access to your downloads, right? We have a special token that's based on you being logged into the account. Other people can't access those recordings. So general best practices there, but the typical way people use it is often for public shows, right?
Yeah, and we don't have issues with like the Zoom bombing type things. It's very, very secure in that sense. If you share your link publicly, people can't enter, but even then we have the ability to block people if you need to do that. We don't recommend sharing the invite link publicly though.
Yes. Chad says it would be interesting to gather multiple show flows / processes from others to see if there's an optimized way to improve run of show production. Could be a fun project. Yeah, that sounds like an awesome project. Chad.
Cool.
Letitia says, I have a show where I have about 5 ladies on at once. Can you make a way for when someone is speaking, the camera just shows them on screen so I don't have to switch it myself? That one used to come up a lot. We haven't heard too much of it. The Hangouts on air used to work like that. So I think that's why it was popular at the beginning, but we're certainly open to it. Letitia, having like some setting tucked away to enable like the auto switching for voice.
Yep. It could definitely be a little jarring, which is why we've kind of held off which is one of the reasons we held off on that, and just trying to minimize how many features we have in general. But yeah, definitely see the need. Certainly, the request has gone down over time.
This is a cool question. Hazel says, I'm a newbie hosting a show with 3 of us in the same room. Any suggestions on how I might do that better rather than us all just crowding around the mic? Yeah, that's a good question. It's also not my area of expertise, but there's a few different ways. I mean, one thing you could do is just have each person with their own individual mic going into an audio mixer of some kind. As long as it's the right type of mic, having one mic where you're around a table is that not a bad solution. Like there's plenty of very well-known podcasts that do it just like that. We might have a blog post on that stuff. If not, we should make one on the different setups there. But
and I should add one other option, which is you could just have them on 3 separate computers if you really wanted to.
Yeah, that's true. Just go into different rooms. But yeah, maybe just check out best practices there, Hazel. But I would say that there's not necessarily anything wrong with just 3 people crowding around the mic as long as you have an omnidirectional mic. So just check out the type of mic you have, and then maybe consider if you really want to do something where each person has their own individual mic looking into a mixer or something like that.
Yeah. One thing I know personally when I've been in a situation like that, I like where the other people are still on kind of the other side of the table, so you can look at them normally like you would in a conversation, versus I find it trickier when you're right next to each other, all facing the same direction. I'm not sure why that is. It's weird when you're having to look sideways at them. So maybe something there, but again, you would need an omnidirectional mic for that, whereas if you're all right next to each other, it's much easier to just have a mic in front of you. Just random thoughts for you. We're not experts on that one.
Tristan says, most used feature, I do internal and client calls in StreamYard to record for reference and team to take notes for me. 15 of them today. Lifesaver. Wow, that's awesome, Tristan. Yeah, recording. It always surprises me how many people are just using it for recording to do stuff like that. So good to know. Veronica says, any updates on streaming pre-recorded videos as live? So this is something we're working on now, Veronica. Don't have a date or anything like that, but we are actively working on pre-recorded, the ability to stream pre-recorded videos. Joe Dog says, Dana Bence rocks. She's a super asset to StreamYard. Definitely agree. Jordan says, one-click opener button and closer button when clicked would start or end your feed with the video you have selected. You understand that one, Dan?
Maybe is it a hotkey to add and remove videos?
I'll have to go back and check, Jordan, to see if there's a previous one. Not 100% sure. Should we go ahead and do the giveaway, Dan? We're getting close to.
Let's do it. Just a sec.
So for anyone new here, we do giveaways every single week. So if you just type in hashtag, I'll put it up on the screen here, hashtag the yard in the chat, you'll be eligible to win a coffee mug and a StreamYard t-shirt, a black StreamYard t-shirt.
A very comfortable black StreamYard t-shirt and a very large StreamYard coffee mug.
Let's see here. Letitia says, I do a evergreen pre-recorded webinar every Thursday using StreamYard. Awesome.
Cool.
Leslie said, had an amazing Team Taylor live event on Facebook tonight using StreamYard. Love it. Ease of use. Yes. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much, Leslie. That's super kind of you.
Awesome. Glad it went well.
So yeah, I think I missed the hashtag the yards. I think I missed the timing questions around how far people schedule it out, but that's okay. I'll go back and check. Should we give people a bit more time, Dan, or do we have it?
Maybe wait another 20 seconds.
Marcello says, hashtag ask. I have the Rodecaster Pro. However, I'm having echoes in my live stream. Any clue where I can find a resource to figure out how to avoid echoes? So we do have live support, Marcello. They can help you troubleshoot to streamyard.com/contact. But generally, the easiest way to do that is just process of elimination. So if you have a guest, do you have it when you have the guest? You can sort things out that way. But our live support team can help you go through the whole process.
Yep. Ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. For a mug and a t-shirt. Good luck, everyone.
James, congrats. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Dana will reach out to you for your info to get you your mug and t-shirt shipped.
Man, those last few are so suspenseful. You always think it's going to stop.
It tricked me that time. Usually I think I've got it figured out, but that one definitely got me.
Yeah, there's a lot of... Yeah, it's close. It's like, the last two or last three. It's... Oh, no. It's exciting.
Empty says, I'm doing my first live ever on YouTube tomorrow at 8 p.m. and I'm so scared. Any tips? That's a cool question, Empty Nester. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I get slightly scared that we're on 116 now. I still get scared, every stream somewhat. It's sort of nerve-wracking having people watch you go live. But it's always fun, It's so good. I think just going ahead and doing it, you'll find that it's not nearly as bad when you actually get going. And then the other thing to keep in mind too is that other people, what you think is a really big deal is not nearly as big of a deal to other people. So although you'll be, overanalyzing every misstep or word mix up that you make, other people won't. And then also, there's generally, especially when you're first starting out, maybe you have a huge audience, but when you're first starting out, there might only be a few people watching, which gives you some time as you build up your audience to sort of perfect, or not perfect, but to get more comfortable. Do you have any tips there, Dan?
Yeah, so I think that's great. Things I would add is I think the world really values just kind of the realness of live streaming now, and realness in general. Like it's very genuine. You don't need highly produced stuff as much anymore. It's more about they want to see you, right? Like your audience wants to see you. They appreciate that it's very real. If something goes wrong, like it's okay, right? Because they get it. You're human. We're all human. I think people really like that aspect of live streaming. I've found that to be a huge part of why live streaming works so well, honestly. And then the only other suggestion is just to be consistent. Because that's every time, we ask anyone who's been doing it for a while that's had huge success, same thing with us. What's the number one thing? Just being consistent. So those would be my tips.
Also some good suggestions in the chat here as well. That's a good one, Larry. That's for the banners. I generally will do that too, is just plan out talking points, and generally makes me feel quite a bit more comfortable of not completely blanking out or something. So that's a good one. Just having some talking points of what you want to cover. And
having fun. Agreed. Like you got to be having fun. Enjoy it, right?
Absolutely.
I know for public, so I've been in Toastmasters for a very long time. So it's like a public speaking club. And I know one of the things whenever I'm talking to newer speakers that I'll say is that excitement and anxiety are essentially the same emotion. Like they're very, very similar in our bodies, and a lot of it's just how you think of it. So if you're anxious for something, actually, you can kind of just flip that to, no, you're very excited for it. That kind of goes to the whole, have fun, enjoy it.
Absolutely. Just about out of time. Let's see if we can find one last question. We've got too much just great feedback. So thank you guys for all the supportive tips. Let's see if we have any last ones here. It's all just feedback. I'm trying to scroll for one last final question. Cool. Be authentic and willing to laugh at yourself. That's another good one. Joe Dog says, any update on analytics? So thank you, Joe Dog. We'll end with that one. Yes, we are actively working on analytics. Again, no dates for anything, but that is something that's actively being worked on to give you guys a sense of, your views over time and how you're progressing, which I think is great for, keeping tabs on how things are going. This was episode 116 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week at the same time.
Cool. See you next week, everyone.